Judo heritage starts with the knowledge of the old senseis and flows down. In this case, Kawakami sensei taught me. In turn, I taught Bill. Bill loved to watch the old films with Kawakami sensei. Therefore, I thought it was appropriate to add some of this film to this video. To be with Kawakami sensei was like being in a judo time machine back at the time of Jigoro Kano. Here we are working out at his dojo. He started his judo in the town of Mito in Ibaraki Prefecture. Here's a rare picture of him with a white belt. In Ibaraki, he did judo, sumo, and bojitsu. He was invited to Tokyo to the Horikoshi Dojo, which was the Yoshin Ryu Jiu-jitsu school. And these are some of the teachers there. And while he was in Tokyo, he went to Meiji University, where he became captain of their judo and sumo team. Here's a picture of him in his sumo regalia after winning a championship. Look at the belt on that guy. Here we are. Here's another shot of him with the sumo team at Meiji. Here he is when he was about a 5th degree black belt. He became an instructor at the Tokyo Agricultural College and the Merchant Marine Academy. Here's a shot of him just posing in jigotai and surikomigoshi. This is a great photo of his little dojo with some of the kids working out. It was so small we used to bounce each other off the wall. Here's a group photo. This is really great. Now the little guy in the front, right in the center, actually survived the Hiroshima bomb. He was in a train and he was the only one that lived. There's Kawakami sensei. I'm on one side. His son Ray is on the other. Jim Lang is alongside of the sensei. And here's another shot of the three of us. Ray, the sensei, and myself. And here's a photo of him when he was 73 years old, received his 9th Dan and a special award from the Emperor of Japan. Now, let us go on the mat with the sensei. Newaza are mat techniques. It includes holding, choking, and arm bars. This is a front entry controlling the opponent's legs. He grabs the knees, holds them down, drops your shoulder in. Now just demonstrating the power if your center of gravity is low. His crotch is low to the ground, he can deflect the legs very easily. Try it. You'll see it really works. Splits the legs, the opponent grabs him, comes underneath, grabs the belt, and just sits through. Then turns him over and goes into a hold. Grabs the knees, drops down, moves up the body, puts one knee in one side, and does Yoko Shiho. Now here's a front entry controlling both legs with a figure 4. A lot of times the opponent tries to grab your legs with a crossing over, but in this case, he figure 4s the one leg, comes in and does Yoko Shiho. Kuzure Keisekatami, the modified cross-chest hold. Sensei holds the opponent's right arm under his armpit, puts his knee under the opponent's right shoulder, and his left arm is under the opponent's shoulder. Uses the left arm as a blocker if he turns in that direction, and also pulls in on the arm to keep him from turning away. Now as the opponent tries to turn back in the other direction, he'll use his knee under the shoulder as a block and his legs spread apart in a triangular manner. Now we'll see escapes from Keisekatami. In the first case, he boots his butt up, pushes him up, and then just turns him over with a bridging action. Now this one's similar, except he grabs the belt, he's going to push him way forward, and then turns him over. Now he brings his legs over the top and locks the arm. Let's watch this again. Legs over the top, locks the arm. Pushes him back, locks the arm, and chokes him with his leg. Has a sankaku on the neck and an arm lock. This is katagatami, the shoulder hold. As he approaches the opponent from the side, pushes his arm against his head, reaches through, clasps both arms, His right knee is in the side, the other leg is out as an outrigger. Let's watch it in slow motion. Pushes the arm against the opponent's head, reaches underneath, grabs his hands, pushes his head down, right knee in the side, the other leg is an outrigger. If he pushes his head forward, it'll actually be a choke. Here are several escapes from katagatame. In the first escape, he picks his foot up, pushes it in the opponent's side, shove the opponent away. As the opponent's arm straightens out, comes in for an armbar. Now the opponent has him pinned. He shoots his legs over the top, holding the opponent's arm that's wrapped around him, turns through, sits through for an armbar. Here it is again. Keeps holding the opponent's arm, turns his head towards the opponent's feet, sits through, armbar. Now we have escapes from Kamishiho Gatame. The opponent's holding you from the top, so you try to get out from the bottom. Just pushing against his shoulder. Here he is pushing against both shoulders, sliding out. Now he's going to do it by pushing the head over to one side, making a space, and pushing against one shoulder, sliding out. Now he demonstrates it going from the other side. Just push the head over with your knee, put your hands on his shoulder, push back, and pull out. And here's one more time from the other side. Push the head over, hands on the shoulder, push and get out. Now we'll enter from a standing position using a throw into a hold, straight arm lock, cross arm lock, and a leg choke. Sensei takes opponent down with a drop knee ouchigari, turns into Yoko Shiho. His opponent attempts to escape, does an arm lock. Now let's see this in slow motion. Drops down on his right knee, hooks his right leg, takes him down. He's into position for Yoko Shiho. As the opponent turns towards him, he catches the arm, steps over the top, and locks the arm. As the opponent goes to turn away, he hooks his arm, grabs his collar, puts his right knee under the shoulder, steps over the top for Juji Gatame. Let's see this in slow motion. Opponent goes to turn away, he hooks the arm, grabs his collar, and holds on to the opponent's collar so he can't turn away. Then he drives his right knee under his shoulder, leg over the top, drops back diagonally for Juji Gatame. The opponent turns towards him, he catches the arm, steps over the top and chokes. Let's see this in slow motion. The opponent reaches around, tries to turn towards him. He holds the collar, brings the arm in tight, then steps over the top, leans forward and chokes. Kata Juji Jime, half cross-handed choke with an entry from standing. Sensei controls the legs, drops his shoulder in, goes in against the shoulder, opponent turns over, gets the choke, puts it on. Controls the knees, drops his shoulder down like he's going into a pin, reaches across, grabs the collar, leans on his shoulder, the opponent turns towards him. He reaches over the top, grabs his collar, he now has the cross choke, turns through, he uses his legs to push the opponent down and applies the choke. Studying the choke from another angle, do you notice he catches low, leans over, as the opponent turns towards him, he pushes up, makes a space, grabs the collar, puts his leg over the top and chokes. This is in a little slow motion. Grabs the collar, leans down. You notice he's grabbing the collar low. Comes over the top to pin the opponent. The opponent can only turn towards him. As he does that, he shoves up, grabs the collar, because there's a big opening there. Catches it, rotates his body, has the cross choke, the leg over the top, pushes the opponent down with his leg, and pulls in with his hands for the choke. Top attack into Okuri-eri Jime, sliding collar choke, sometimes called Hara Jime. Reaches under, catches the collar, reaches under the armpit, catches the other lapel, steps through, and applies the choke. Let's see it closely. Grabs the collar, reaches through, gets the other lapel, steps through, leans on the opponent, and applies the choke. Choking from the bottom with eri guruma jime, a lapel wheel. Opponent comes into you, grab his lapel on one side, push away with your legs, swing the lapel around his neck. Here's a close-up view. Opponent comes in, swing it around his neck, and choke him. This is choking from the bottom using katahad jime, a half-sided choke. Cross grip the opponent's jacket, and as he comes forward, the other hand comes over the top, figure fours over the head, and pushes through. There's another look at it. Choking from the bottom using hadaka jime, the barehanded choke. Opponent comes into you, push his arm away, grab your own hand, and choke him. Now this is another view. Push the arm away, grab your own hand, your legs are pushing at the bottom and your hands choke. This is a turnover into a hold, then jujigatame across arm lock, and sankaku jime, the triangle choke. Opponent is in a defensive position, reach over, grab his belt, hook his arm, put your head against the arm, and just turn over and you're in position for a hold. This is another application. Grab the belt, catch the arm, roll over, but this time you're going to go into an armbar and choke. Step over the top, control his arm, bring the other arm back into jujigatame, figure four your legs for a choke. Now in slow motion, sensei grabs the belt, hooks under the arm, puts his head against the arm, pulls him over, but now he's going to go for an arm lock and a choke. Leans against him, steps over the top, captures an arm for control, pulls his other arm back, straight back into jujigatame and arm lock, then crosses his legs for figure four. It's called the sankaku jime. It's a choke. This is a turnover into an arm lock and choke, sometimes called jikoku gatame, or the hell hold. Opponent's in a defensive position. You hook your legs on both sides of him, grab his belt, pull him over, hook his arm, figure four his arm on the far side, change arms, and choke. This is a close-up view of the entry. Catch the belt, hook your arm under the armpit, hook his forearm, there you are, figure four his legs, then change arms and choke. This is a little better position to look at. Pull him over, you see you hooking his arm, figure fouring his legs. Change hands, reach across, choke. Now in slow motion, grab his belt, hook your heel under his armpit, pull down. Meantime you've hooked his right arm, then your legs figure four against his arm, change arms, reach across, grab his collar, pull his collar across his neck, and stretch him. Arm locking opponent from the top by using your legs. From the top, hook the opponent's arm and figure four it with your other leg. Slide down below the elbow joint. Catch his arm for control and then arch. It's a close-up, hooking the arm, sliding back, figure fouring, arching with your legs and controlling his arm. And another view of the same thing. This is udegatame into hizagatame. It's a reverse arm coil into a knee armbar from a standing position. Here the sensei fakes the opponent out by just pushing the arm down. Then he grabs a sleeve, the wrist, twists underneath, brings him down with an arm lock, drops down, puts his knee on the top, and does a hizagatame. There he is again, faking him out, grabs the sleeve, catches the wrist, turns through, pulls him straight down into the mat, puts his foot on the top, and then the knee. This is an arm lock against a high collar grip. Here the opponent grips your collar high. Use your shoulder and head to secure the hand, and then your hands push down on the elbow. Closer view. The shoulder and head, getting the hand, hands cupped over the elbow. Here's a slow motion view of this here. Capture the hand, cup the elbow, try to keep the body straight, bring him straight down. And now just one more time with a few highlights. That's where we capture the hand and we cup the elbow. And keep the back straight, bring the opponent straight down, almost on his face. This is an armbar against a sleeve grip by your opponent. Come around, cup your hands over his elbow, bring him down. Cup it over the elbow, but you capture his wrist in the bend of your arm. Come around, capture the elbow, keep his wrist in the bend of your arm, take him straight down, keep your back straight. This is an arm lock against a belt grip using hisagatami. The opponent grabs your belt, you push him away with your right leg, drop down, put your left leg over the top as a lock. Drop down, push away with your right leg, your left leg on top, using your knee to lock his arm. Here's what that locking looks like. The foot's on top, and you turn your knee into his elbow. Here it is one more time without hands. This film is dedicated to the memory of William Bill Nauta, 6th Dan, the ultimate judo sensei and friend. A Chinese proverb says, "Although you may be powerful, you need not show it, for the power will be with you when you need it." Truly, this was Bill, a strong but gentle soul. Bill's career in martial arts started with boxing in the Navy, where he became a champion. In Hawaii, he studied wrestling and Jiu-jitsu. And in 1957, he joined me at my dojo, Judokan, in North Hollywood, California, where he rose through the ranks to become a black belt and an instructor. Now here's where it started, at the Judokan Judo Institute, North Hollywood, California. And here is Bill and myself giving a judo exhibition Christmas time at a community center. That's Bill doing the diving. And in 1963, we made the cover of Black Belt magazine. That's Bill's face, and those are my arms choking him. And here is Bill and myself, a couple of judo senior citizens at Gardena Judo Club, where Bill gave an incredible clinic on the key to arm locks. The Key to Arm Locks is an excellent film by William Nauta. It has been edited to add some slow motion with additional narration.
Old man, how's about some money?
No way.
Talk to me, old man. Hey, I'm not done with you yet.
Yes, son? This is the last time. Through the past 40 years of activity in the sport and also in the self-defense aspects of judo, I've wondered why so many athletes with the same physical ability and intelligence, different performance and perfection and techniques, particularly in the area of arm locks. I've wondered why some people can make them work regardless of which position they're in, and others can't make them work in any position. After many years of competition, teaching, and lots of observation, I've come up with a theory which I've been teaching for several years with much success. I've been asked to share it with you, and it's my pleasure to do so. I've discovered, and perhaps you also have realized, that no matter how strange or difficult to pronounce a Japanese word for the technique, or whether you're standing, sitting, laying down, upside down, or backwards, there are only two arm locks, a bar and a coil. No matter which way the arm moves, whether it's straight or bent, it will come to a limit of motion in any direction. For example, if you try to apply an arm bar on a straight arm, and the opponent tries to escape by bending his arm, by maintaining control, it will reach its limit of motion, and you will have an arm coil. It also works in reverse. The key to arm locks is control. Okay, Wakigatami is an arm bar with his arm under my armpit, locked under my breast, locked in by my shoulder, and pressure being applied to the wrist.
Slide through. Swing your arm over. Lock it tight. Grab the wrist, swing your arm over. Slide through. Arm over, leg back. Arm over, leg back. Arm over, leg back. Arm over, leg back, and run forward.
Reach across, grab the opponent's arm, bring it forward under your armpit, catch his wrist, slide across his leg, and that should put enough pressure on to make him give up. Or just step forward, sit down, lean into him, pull up.
When somebody places their weight forward on their arms, either left or right side, it's very simple to unbalance them by pulling the arm out, reaching around, sitting through, Wakigatami.
The key here is sweeping the opponent's arm out from underneath him with your hand. Bring his arm out at an angle. Reach around, control his arm with your armpit, grab the wrist, and pull up for a lock.
From a defensive posture, you can catch the wrist. It's very simple. Pull it straight out of 45, reach over, and lock.
Grab the wrist, pull the arm, elbow over, lock.
Key here is first lift him up by his collar, then pull his arm out, sit through for Wakigatami, pulling the arm up for the lock.
Catching the wrist, placing my wrist and forearm against the shoulder. I have either Udagarami or that or Wakigatami.
The key here is grabbing the opponent's wrist, leaning into his shoulder, catching his hand with both of your hands, leaning back, bringing it up into a coil for an armbar, or you could swing it straight out into a Wakigatami, controlling it under your armpit.
Grab the collar, arm through. Do a twist, lock the arm. Swing it around, lock it.
My elbow over.
The key here is grabbing the opponent's wrist from behind. Now, with your forearm, lean into his shoulder, breaks his arm back, grab his wrist with both hands, pull the arm up into a coil armbar, leaning into him, or swinging his arm out around to the front, and doing a wakigatami, again controlling with your armpit and pulling his wrists up with both hands.
Push at the knee, hand through, lock her up, either direction.
The key here is pushing his elbow forward with your knee, then reaching through, grabbing his wrist, leaning into his shoulder, bringing his arm out, behind him, up into a coil lock, or out straight into a wakigatami hold.
Grab the wrist, swing the elbow, turn your body. You've got it.
In this variation, we use our right arm to catch his wrist, our left arm controls his back, holding the belt. Right, and we sit through, pulling his arm up and out into a coil, or swinging it out into a wakigatami.
Key lock, turn the head over, swing around, key lock, foot over, turn your body.
We turn him over, figure fouring our hands like a key lock, under the armpit and against the head. Now you move around the body, bending his arm at 90 degrees under your armpit, and rotate the arm, and that's a lock. Now we step over the top, controlling the arm, rotate to the left, and that's a lock. As an alternative, we can let the arm straight, come underneath the elbow, key lock against your own arm.
Bend her straight, swing through, lock it. There you go. Grab the wrist, make a turn, pull it up.
As the opponent reaches around your waist, you capture his arm, grab his wrist, press his arm against your side, rotate from the inside, sit through, and you have an arm bar.
Hold the belt, grab the collars, step over, make a roll. Grab the collar, pull him.
Spread eagle the opponent, catching his lapels from the back. Step over the top, hook his head, forward roll into Jujigatami.
Up, grab the arm, step over, and just go.
Again, spread eagle the opponent, catch his right arm, step over the top, catch his wrist, back with one leg, forward with the other, go down on your knee, and you have an arm lock.
Forward, step over, roll back. It's all the same. Any direction.
This is a variation where we just roll back and into an arm bar.
When he grabs you, you catch his wrist. Look what happens. Grab his wrist, push him back. Look what you got.
The key here is control the opponent's arm. Pull him towards you, bring your leg over the top, push him back, bring your right leg over the top, and you have a lock.
Now you can go forward, you still have it.
The key here is to grab the wrist, push the leg away, bring your other leg over, pushing away with your legs and lift up with your arm.
Any direction.
The key to this variation is to pull on the arm, bring your legs over, between his legs, and turn on your stomach as you stretch.
Figure four with your legs and turn over.
The key to this variation is as you bring your leg over, you figure four it under your other leg, and then turn to your stomach.
Grab the elbow, come up, roll back.
As the opponent turns towards you to escape, you hold his arm tight against your chest, step over the top, keep holding the arm, turn around, sit back diagonally, and into Jujigatami.
You have Izue Kesa, and the man with his loose arm there is pulling you like that. When that arm is up, you lock it. Up on your knee, pull him up, step in behind, turn, drop, lock your knees in.
In this variation, as the opponent pushes you, you lock his arm against your chest, pushing in on the elbow, pressing against your shoulder. Then you can go over the top, and as you step around, your left foot will go under his back for control, right leg over the top, and you drop back for an arm bar.
Step around the other way and go back.
This action is similar to the last. Opponent pushes against you, you lock the arm. But in this case, you step over with the other foot. Swing over, and again a cross arm bar.
Bring your arm over and under, key lock.
The key here is bring your hand up and over around the shoulder and hook under the elbow. There we go again. Slowly around, underneath, bend the elbow, and key lock.
What you got?
This variation, we put our hand against the shoulder, key lock, and push straight.
Pull him over the shoulder, under the elbow, key lock. Over the shoulder, under, key lock. Over and under. Over and under the shoulder, under the elbow and key lock.
This is a better view of the lock with the bent elbow. Pulls the opponent to him, comes underneath, under the elbow, key locks on his forearm.
Now drop, roll over. You really got him. Over, under, key lock, turn, drop, roll over. Now turn your body to the left.
The key here is pull the opponent towards you so you can come underneath his arm, under the elbow, put your other hand on the wrist, and then key lock. That puts pressure on. Now break his power by shoving his arm up and behind his back. Then you take him over the top using sumigaishi, the corner throw. Drop down, boot him between the legs, over the top, maintaining the hold. Now to put the pressure on, you turn to your left and lift his arm up.
Same way from another side. Pull him and lock.
The key here is to grab the opponent's sleeve, pull it across your body so you can bring your left arm over the top, locking under your elbow.
Lock him. When he grabs you, you come over, move his wrist, swing your arm over, key lock.
The key here is to break the opponent's grip and pulling his arm across your body so you can bring your other arm over the top, controlling his arm under your armpit.
Arm Arm over, under, key lock. Twist it. Straight or bent, it works. Grabs you, you block him, twist it around.
The key to this variation is as you go into the straight arm bar, bring him across, come underneath, he resists. Then push his arm over, create a coil, bend it down, and you have a coil arm lock.
Turn him over, foot on, arm under, grab his collar, swing through, turn him over, foot on the top so he can't roll. All I have to do is just bend my wrist. Now any direction it turns, you've got a lock. Even a wrist lock if you want it.
Your opponent is gripping you with one hand, you come over the top and grip him near the armpit. It's called a pocket grip. Grab his wrist, do a side separation called yoko wakari. As he lands, put your foot on his chest to control his body. Still hold on to his jacket tight and secure his wrist. Now to put pressure onto the elbow, you'll do this by rotating your wrist. There. That puts the pressure under the elbow. From this position, the opponent struggles, you can go into a arm coil, do a figure four, bend his arm. Of course, this isn't allowed in judo, but it is good for self-defense. You can do a wrist lock.
Arm over, twist and turn. Key lock. You got it. Up. Straight. Down. Up. Straight.
Once you've thrown the opponent, and you're in Kosen Gatami, you can do a straight arm bar with a key lock. Downward, coil armbar. Upward, coil armbar. And now back to a straight armbar.
Arm over, grab his collar. Grab his wrist, grab his collar. Push him down. Wrist, collar, and push.
The key here is to hold the opponent's wrist, come over the top, grab the opposite lapel, and shove straight down.
A lot of pain. Same move. Figure four over the top.
When you attempt a standing arm bar, reaching across, the opponent releases his wrist, then grab the wrist, do a key lock, and an arm coil arm bar.
Under, and twist it.
The opponent resists against a one-arm shoulder throw. Reach over the top, get a key lock and arm bar.
You do it up or back. Even wrist lock.
Again, as you try a one-arm shoulder throw, the opponent resists. Push his arm down, come behind his elbow, and bend his arm up behind his back.
Put him on your knee. You can throw him over and swing over. Bring your knees.
The key here is to apply the arm bar by bringing the arm back diagonally.
under, behind the elbow, and now you've got pressure. Pull him forward, put his...
You come across, grab the elbow and control his wrist and the bend of your arm. Keep your body straight, put downward pressure on. To put more pressure, drop down on your knee, keeping straight, pushing down on the elbow.
Together. Foot over, turn your body.
Coming up from a holding position, reach under his elbow, capture his forearm under your armpit, grab your own jacket, step over the top, rise up, and rotate to put the pressure on.
Very easy to get the same move. Now you can twist it either up or down. This way it's going down. Heel-lock and turn.
As the opponent turns away, you hook under his arm, step over the top to control him, grab his wrist, key lock, and rotate for an arm coil.
Under your knee, pull his head up.
As the opponent attempts to get away, grab his arm, put it under your knee, then to put the pressure on, lift his head.
Over the head, turn your body.
Control the opponent's arm under your armpit. To key lock, bring one hand underneath his elbow, the other hand on his elbow. There's the key lock. Now rotate to put on the pressure. In this variation, you step over the opponent, this time with your left leg. Straight arm bar, controlling under your armpit. Or bend the arm, key lock, and rotate.
Just a little twist. Under, catch the wrist, pull his head, turn your body around, leg over, turn your body.
In summary, all of these moves can be utilized from almost any hold with slight variation, from either the top or the bottom, standing or sitting, or rolling on the ground. These moves are only the tip of the iceberg, just enough, I hope, to make you think. Remember three things: practice, 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 and develop these, and you'll see the many other techniques that will present themselves to you in the process. Thanks, and good luck.